Thanks for tuning in to The Solution is You. I really hope that you guys had a wonderful day. And I hope that you took time out to help someone other than yourself. If you find value within my content, then make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. With that, let's go ahead and get into today's subject. Now, the topic of today is diving into the deep end. Now, I'm certain a lot of you have friends that you grew up with that you still may talk to from time to time. A lot of us, out of high school, we lost touch with some of the friends that we grew up with. Now, speaking for myself, I grew up in a neighborhood mostly of retirees. So these was individuals who worked on a job for like 30 years, retired, and the neighborhood that I grew up in was mostly older people. There was a crime watch program. And by the way, I was raised by my great aunt. So my great aunt was a part of the Crime Watch community. And everyone looked out for each other. And so this was a type of neighborhood where the lawns were cut. You had people sitting out on the porch having conversation. And around the corner, there was a housing project. So, the friends that I had all pretty much resided in the housing project. There were just a few who lived outside of the projects, but most of my friends lived in this complex. So this was a neighborhood where I went to school with all the friends that I knew starting from preschool. So from preschool to third grade, and from fourth grade to sixth grade, and from high school freshman until I graduated. I was associated with all the friends that I knew from the neighborhood. So we would do a lot of things together. I attended the boys club, something I talked about on previous videos, but everything that I did in the neighborhood, I did with my friends. And so my aunt was really strict, and there was a lot of things that I could not do because she knew what the consequences would be if I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. And so she always looked out for me, always wanted me to become someone. And, she had a lot of responsibility because my mom was not around. So she had to look out for me and make sure that I stayed safe. So, going to school, I was bused. So, when I was in middle school, I was bused to school. So basically, I was bused to school from about middle school to high school. And so, wherever I went on the bus, there was my friends, same friends from the neighborhood. So I knew them, they knew me, and I knew pretty much everyone from that area. And during the bus rides was kind of crazy because you can imagine a lot of rowdy kids on the bus, and so there was a lot of cursing and uh, people acting up, calling people out of their names, things like that. The things that you could probably expect from kids. And so, as I got older, same things continued. But when we would arrive at school, there would always be, your class clowns. So you had certain individuals that would come into class and they didn't really care about getting their education. And so in school, I was the nerd. So I was the one always coming in getting my homework done. And keep in mind, my aunt, she never wanted me to go anywhere. And I had to be home before the lights came on outside. And she made sure I had chores and all the things that a responsible parent would want to see from their children. And so, she was very strict on me. So there was a lot of things I did not have. And plus, she was low income. So there wasn't a lot that she could provide, but she did provide the basics. So when I went to school, I didn't have the best clothes. So I would get embarrassed for not wearing certain types of clothing as the other kids would. And sometimes I would wear the same clothes every day. So That's just the way it was, and that's something I would have to deal with. But back then, it was a little bit more acceptable because once you establish who you were, it wasn't much of a big deal like it is today, where a lot of people are not accepted for certain ways that they may dress or a certain way they may carry themselves. So back then, once your friends knew who you were and they kind of knew what your get down was, it was accepted. And so going to school with these individuals who would come to school and not really get their work done, they would come and cause some type of interruption in class, whether it was what we call playing the dozens in class or just talking loud or throwing things in the classroom. So you had certain individuals, as soon as they get into class, they get kicked out. And then from there, they would get suspended. So I found that the same individuals, the same friends that I would have would come into class and would always get suspended. And once they come back from their suspension, which would be, sometimes a few weeks, they come back and they get suspended again. And so, I learned very quickly to stay away from certain individuals because, they would get you in a situation if you didn't. So as it relates to diving into the deep end, no matter what I do believe in balance. So whatever you do needs to be done in moderation. So if you're eating too many sweets, then that could cause health issues. Same thing if you're taking in too much sodium. If you are hanging out too much, you're not really accomplishing anything that you want to do that's productive in life. If you are not paying attention, then you may miss something that could be of importance later down the road. So I found that a lot of the people I associated with from the housing project or from my general neighborhood who would go to school and not get their education and get kicked out of school, I found that a lot of them are not doing well in life. And it seems every few years I would hear about certain individuals who passed away or got locked up in prison. And so it's a real sad situation because how you start affects the rest of your life. So the way that you start out in life, with school, for example, and you're not getting your education, you're not listening, you're not working well with others, you're not taking instruction or direction, making excuses, those things follow you in life. And a lot of times they have long lasting effects. So life is to be taken seriously. We're in times where time is moving so fast, technology is so advanced, people are moving faster than ever. And there are so many people now who can care less about what you have or have not accomplished because so many are out to get theirs and there's so little compassion for those who haven't. And now you have to be equipped with as much knowledge as you can. You have to be moving fast. You can't sit around and wait on anyone to do anything for you. You can't sit around and wait on an opportunity to become available. You have to go out and grab whatever it is that you want to do. I mean, it's cutthroat out here. There's so much competition. You have so many people, so many diverse cultures. You have so much competition out here that nobody really wants to hear about what you did not learn years ago. All people want to know, especially people on businesses, these owners and CEOs or whatever, they want to know, what can you do for me? What type of value can you bring to my establishment? And so coming with a bunch of excuses and things like that, that's the way, people who are getting money or people who are trying to do things in life, that's the way they look at these situations. It's not necessarily right, but this is the way life is. So we have to play with the hand that is being dealt. So it's important to understand balance and not dive into the deep end when it's not necessary. Always have a foundation. Always build yourself up so that you can withstand the pressures of life. I thank you for listening to me today. Please understand that the solution is you. With that, have a great day.